Welcome back to MoJoe Sports, and it is arguably the best week of the year. Favorite episode to do. We are starting March Madness. Today, you get your full March Madness breakdown. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say March Madness, but I've already said it 5 times, and we're 20 seconds in. But today's the full breakdown. So, first, we're going to go through initial thoughts on each region. From there, we'll give out our best bets for round one. And then we'll give out our Cinderella picks. And then we get to the fun stuff. We're going to break down me and Joe's brackets starting from the Sweet 16. We don't need to go through all the round of 32 in the first round. That's nonsense. And at the very end of the episode, me and Joe are going to do a little competition, a little friendly wager. We're going to have a draft. Okay. We're each going to pick 10 teams. And we are looking for this year's national champion. So that's what the draft's about. And whoever loses that draft, Joe, I don't know, you didn't agree to this over text yet, but I was thinking a 10-minute solo pod that you have to do by yourself. And you basically got to break down what went wrong, things to remember for next year. You could treat it like a press conference, maybe have some write-in questions that you got to answer after you just lost the national championship.
Yeah, I like that. No, I agree. I agree. I meant to
All
agree,
right.
but I agree.
All right, you heard it. Joe's in, and we all know how the MoJoe bets go. So, but Joe, first off, let's just
That's
talk about
football. I'm
this.
I'm a college basketball sharp. That's football. I'm basketball sharp. I don't
Ev-
I yeah, well, we'll save it. We'll save it. I got some thoughts. I got some thoughts.
All right. We'll save it, but let's start off. Let's talk about what just happened. World Baseball Classic. I think we all saw over the weekend, USA defeated Dominican Republic in what people were saying was the most talented game of all time, where you had a ton of guys that are all-stars, golden gloves, this and that. And it's not just an all-star game. These guys are actually trying to win for their countries. So that game was electric. Maybe we got some calls. I don't know. But tonight, the USA went to the championship and took on Venezuela. And that game just finished up right before we filmed. Down goes the USA.
Yeah. Sad to see it. I had a few thoughts about this. So one, before the championship game, the first thing that jumps out is, Aaron Judge is getting killed on Twitter. Rightfully so, didn't play that great. But his speech was horrific. I don't know if you saw this, but it was essentially stolen valor. We can say that. I think he says the word "in the trenches," sacrificed a lot for our country. All these kind of different things. So it's like, all right, let's take it back a second there. You got to win the game if you're going to do that. Fine speech if you win that game. You can't do that and lose that game, and you can't do that and not play well if you're Aaron Judge. Two, uh, this just shows me that baseball season needs to be way fucking shorter somehow. Like, they got to do something because this tournament was electric. Everybody buys in. It means something. The single elimination, it's like the playoffs, right? October's sick. I love October baseball, but 162 games, like, it just doesn't. It's way more fun watching these guys when they care so much, and I feel like it's really hard to care for 162 games in a row. So those were my kind of two takeaways, but everybody wanted to see like a couple matchups here. It was Japan USA, it was DR USA, or Venezuela DR. There was a couple matchups that everybody wanted, and I feel like Venezuela USA wasn't like on the top of everybody's list for the championship game.
Joe, we got a bunch of greedy owners in the MLB, and you're a
Yeah, I know.
finance guy. Imagine going to your boss and saying, "Hey, I want to have less opportunities to make profit." So I don't see them moving away from their 162 game season anytime soon.
Yeah, I know. But isn't it? It's just way more. Maybe it's because
Oh,
it's the
it's
countries get
egregious.
involved, but it's yeah, it's way more fun to see, and the guys are. They loved it. The USA had the least amount of juice. The DR was the most fun. Venezuela was up there. Japan was great. We talked about the other teams where they have mechanics and electricians playing for them. That was sick. But yeah, I had the USA sweater on. before we lost, and then it didn't feel right to take it off, so I kept it on. But yeah,
Felt like a hangover spot for the USA. It almost felt like we treated the Dominican Republic game as the championship. There was so much hype going into it, and then today just kind of come out flat. And Bryce Harper hits a 2-run home run to tie it up in the bottom of the eighth. Electric moment, and then just immediately top of the ninth, walk a batter. He steals second, very close on the tag, and then just a shot to center left right in the gap, scores a run. So momentum was killed pretty quickly, but it was an electric overall World Baseball Classic. Very good for the sport of baseball. I'm a fan. Wish it came up more often, actually. Maybe don't space it out as much. And I'm also seeing some people on Twitter, maybe they're saying this is a bad look. You just kidnapped their president like 2 months ago and then you lose to them in the World Baseball Classic. So Twitter's having a field day with that narrative right now.
yeah, it was personal. It was personal.
Well, I think it's about time we dive into March Madness. And Joe, let's start with looking at the regions. Just take a big, long look at these regions, just an overview.
Yeah, let's dive right in. We're gonna jump through each region. Will's he's let me preface this whole thing before we start here. There's way too many analytics now. Okay, there's way too many fucking analytics. When I was a kid, and still to this day, pretty much what I do, and I've given in a little bit. You know, we talked about this thing I'm building, this AI thing. There's analytics in that. But it used to be you print out the brackets, you look at the bracket, you pick the teams. You're not going off Ken Palm, you're not going off whatever. You go into Sleep or some of these other apps now where people are doing the brackets. I mean, there's a full breakdown with everything you can think of. You don't even have to think anymore as you're picking. It gives you percentages like it's crazy. So before we start that, I just want to say that because I'm going into this with mascots, history of the teams, coaches, and vibes. That's about it. You know, Ken Palm, fuck off. All that stuff, fuck off. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Joe,
Doesn't
I
matter.
tried the mascot. I tried the mascot thing when I was young, and I got jaded pretty quickly because the first round matchup, it was like the first pick I was making on the whole bracket. And it was Kansas 1 seed versus Detroit Mercy. And I look up the mascots. Kansas, cute little Jayhawk, looks like the Roadrunner from the cartoon. And Detroit Mercy, they were the Titans. And I looked up, I didn't know what a Titan was at that point. I looked it up and I was like, okay, it's basically like a god versus this little chicken. And I had to go with the 16 seed immediately off rip. So I got a little jaded because I was like, well, some of these teams, they've got weak ass mascots, like an Oregon Duck. It's just, yeah, it's tough to win a fight if you're a duck.
I know. Yeah. And like Purdue's just a train. It's like it's
Well,
gonna be hard to beat.
that could mow down some people. And then every once in a while, you get a mascot that's just like a concept. It's not even a thing.
Yep.
It's just like a weather. Um, so those are tough. But I do want to ask you, how many brackets do you typically fill out?
I go pretty light. I'm a lighter bracket. I mean, if I get sucked into some pools, I'll say yes to anybody that asks, but I'm usually like a 3 to 5 on my own
Mm.
because I like to see them all instead of just fill them all out and try to pretend because like if I fill them all out, I usually end up picking pretty close to the same shit. Like I'm not smart enough to like realize what I picked in the other 24. So it's like I end up with the same busted bracket if my one horse loses. So I think I'm at, I'll enter all the ones just in case I, win Warren's money or Capital One's money or something. But usually I'll go like one on every site, basically.
I've got a buddy that he fills out as many as he can get done before the tournament starts. So I think last year he got up into the hundreds, which is
That's
just
awesome.
absurd. And he's making new accounts each time to because they max you out at 25. But then this year you brought up Warren Buffett, which in college when Warren Buffett said, "I'll give you $1 billion, perfect bracket." I remember I first got to UNLV, I was in the dorm, and I had fully convinced myself that I was gonna do it, and I had already started thinking about what my life was gonna look like with $1 billion and how I was gonna start spending it. So I'll never forget I lost the first game of the entire, tournament. It was an Ohio State 8-9 seed, just like we have this year, and lost off rip. It was just back to work, back to college. Um, but this year, the $1 billion bracket comes back with one of the prediction markets, not a sponsor, so you don't get named here, but they are bringing that out, and I saw somebody on Twitter, they said, "This is the easiest $1 billion ever." I've already got over 100,000 AI bots filling out brackets and creating new profiles every time, and they're like, "I'm bound to hit this." So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll start, leveraging technology to get my you probably wouldn't even got the money, huh? Because 'Cause you're a college athlete. You probably wouldn't have gotten paid. That would've been like
yeah, I,
betting
I
or
thought
something.
about that, and I was like, "I'll just quit football." Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "I'll just say if I have to choose, I'll just choose the billion and say you
You
guys can
imagine
take
you
away
say
my
no, you're like,
eligibility."
"This shit means something to me."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, "NFL, look how much I love ball," and then they still don't take me. They're like, "Nah, fuck this guy."
You still don't even play.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll start in the East though. The East is Duke. You got UConn in there, Michigan State, Kansas, St. John's, Ohio State, TCU. So yeah, this side to me, it's filled with a couple top heavy teams. But to me, it's hard to go against Boozer and Duke. I don't know what you saw in the East.
Yeah, Boozer and Duke are obviously just a wagon right now. Coming off ACC champs. Boozer's got the highest offensive Ken Palm rating of all time as of right now, which they started tracking in 2002. So he's just unreal. But they did lose their third best player, Caleb Foster, fractured his foot. And now, actually, the little Boozer's going to have to step up. He's been getting more minutes during the tournament. But yeah, this team's an absolute wagon. And it always sucks when there's a team like that. And then you like some teams and they end up getting placed in that region. And you're just like, well, they're dead. And for me, that was Michigan State. I really like Michigan State. I love Izzo in the tournament every year. He's a walking Sweet 16. And yeah, it's just going to be a tough, tough physical part of this bracket, I think. Between UConn and Michigan State, they're going to bring physicality. And UConn's looking for dynasty because if they win this year, that makes 3 in 4 years, which that's a dynasty. And that would be impressive. I don't really see it happening this year. We also have Kansas in this region, and Kansas is so polarizing because of Darren Peterson. We don't know
Yep.
what we're going to get out of him. And some people think they play better without him. So that's a whole nother thing. And then for the fifth seed, St. John's, another physical Big East team. And they just have one problem. They can't score sometimes. So
Yeah, that Kansas. I have Kansas St. John's matching up in that second round. And I feel like that's a fraud off. I feel like it's kind of a fraud off, but I also feel like either one of those teams could catch Duke slipping. Like that's the Duke's the team in my head that could go down and just crush everybody. In terms of, losing their bracket. I don't think so. I think they're as good as advertised. But like you said, that injury is like it's a little bit scary. It's the same with Michigan. We'll get to them later, but yeah, Duke and that St. John's Kansas game, and then whoever they match up with, either Michigan State or I have UConn kind of run there too. We'll talk about it later as we go, but I don't see anybody beating Duke out of this region, and I think it's a chalky region for me with Duke. I will say this has one of my best bets around one though in this region. I love TCU. I love TCU as an underdog here. I don't know what it is about Ohio State, but I just can't. I can't get behind Ohio State ever in basketball. And I feel like TCU's got a lot of big wins. They've beaten a lot of marquee teams. So I like TCU as a best bet, especially at the plus money.
And they always do this. They always put one of those 8-9 coin toss games. It's the first game on the bracket, first game of the season. So yeah, I was actually going to ask you who you had in that one, but you're all over the Horned Frogs. And that's when the bracket first came out. That's who I was all over. And then you start reading more and more shit, and then you're like, damn, I don't know what to do. So I think I just trust my gut, and I think I go TCU as well. Um, we'll get to the Sweet 16, right? We're gonna do our brackets from there, but I do want to ask St. John's, Kansas. You have that matchup. Who do you have winning that matchup?
I have St. John's right now, and only because it's Rick Pitino, to be honest. I think it's a toss up. I really do think it's like a 50-50. And I like Darren Peterson a lot. I'm not, bagging on him in any way. I know he gets a lot of hate for this year and whatever. I don't there's some guys that are like March isn't necessarily the best NBA players. You know what I mean? Like the best NBA players, it doesn't like translate one to one. Just if you're going to be a stud in the NBA, you're the best in March Madness. Sometimes you get some freak weird stuff. And I think St. John's is kind of built a little bit better for March, whereas, Darren Peterson is a great prospect. So I like St. John's as a team more than I like Kansas as a team, even with Peterson out there.
Yeah, I have them beating Kansas as well in that spot. And I love Darren Peterson, but I do think this is the type of team that can try to suffocate him. Really good defensive game plan from Patino, I would imagine. And they won the Big East, so they've proven that they can beat UConn. They can win big games. And when we look at Kansas, there might be chemistry issues. We brought that up, but they are also very good at defense. I'll give them that. And before we move on to the next region, I do want to say Michigan State, this one caught my eye, but they don't have a single player mocked to the NBA draft this year in either the first or second round.
Wow.
And you're not going to find many top teams that are like that, but they're super deep. They all can score, and they crash the boards. So it's interesting. I would imagine Jeremiah Fears, he's their point guard. He'll be an NBA guy though, eventually, but not this year, according to the mocks.
Yeah. It's Izzo though. He's worth what? At least 10 points in March alone. Like he's just yeah, especially watching him in this Big Ten tournament, like the game they were losing, they were kind of just getting their shit rocked for like in the second half a little bit, and you just see him on the bench, and it's like these guys are gonna have hell to pay for the next couple weeks, just telling them how they're not ready to play in March. And yeah, I love Tom Izzo. I shook his hand once when I was
Really?
a ball boy. Yeah, they had the tournament in Spokane, and shook his hand. Yeah, it's my
That's
story
awesome.
about Tom Izzo. Go get him, coach.
Yeah, and I especially love him in the second round because right now everybody has a bunch of time to prepare. But then once you win that first game and you don't know who you're playing right away, I think he's great in those spots.
Yeah. Yeah. They kinda have a weak path till they get to that Sweet 16 spot, it looks like too. Um, let's go to the South. So the South is weird to me. I think, everybody's got Florida coming out of the South, at least on paper. They're the 4th 1 seed. They kinda caught fire late, it seems like. Everybody kinda picked steam late in the year. It seemed like the chalky pick, as they kinda got going, but there's also, some interesting storylines there. We got Nebraska, never won an NCAA tournament game, looking for their first ever program win. I do think it would like I think Rothstein said it'd break the record for most wins in a season too. So a lot to play for Nebraska, and would be absolutely heartbreaking if they lost that game to Troy. There's also Houston in that bracket, which we all know Houston. Love Houston, Illinois. This bracket to me, or this region to me, is the most open. I think this one has the most potential for upsets, and I don't have like a clear winner coming out of this one, but I do have some thoughts. But curious to see what you think about the South.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the South is the most open. It's the one seed that people have the most question marks about. Now, a lot of the people that are high on Florida think that they just needed time to mesh because they brought in so many new faces. Obviously, defending national champs, and they lost a bunch of their scorers from that era. So now you've got new guys in there, but they did end on an 11-game win streak, lost in the SEC tournament, but led by Thomas Haas, 17 points per game. They've got a possible defensive player of the year. I can never pronounce his name, so not even going to try it right now. And then you also have Alex Condon and Boogie Flan. So you've got names, you got big names on this team. And if they are getting hot at the right time, it might be worth it. Obviously, Houston, though, is always a juggernaut. And that's a team that I love watching in the tournament, too, because they're just a really hard style matchup for other teams. And they've got a sour taste in their mouth. It's kind of great. We get to see Florida, Houston in the same region right after they played for the national championship. And the big difference this year for Houston is they have a score. They have Kingston Flemings, 16 and a half points per game. He's dropped over 40 in a game this year. So if they get into one of those spots where, hey, we need a bucket, they have a guy, a bona fide NBA guy that they can go to. And obviously the defense is going to be great. Then we look at Illinois, the 3 seed in this region, and Illinois, they score better than anybody in the nation. They got scorers all around. Keaton Wagler, he's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA, 18 points per game, had 46 versus Purdue. So this team can go off. The biggest question mark, can they play defense? And when we look at teams in the past, usually you need defense to go far in this tournament. So I think that's why people are scared of them. But Joe, I kind of love this Nebraska narrative. I kind of love it, dude. And I'll tell you what, one of my best bets for the first round is Nebraska spread. I think
Yeah.
Nebraska comes out. I think maybe people are afraid that they've never won a tournament game and it's going to be a lot of pressure, but I think they're legit. I mean, they went through the Big Ten and won plenty of big games. So I just also think they're pretty gross. They're pretty
Yes.
gross to watch
Very
because
gross.
they're very slow
Yep.
and they take away the 3-pointer from the other team.
Yep. And mega white. I mean, just a bunch of
Yeah.
white dudes out there. Yeah, no, I have Nebraska winning, and I actually have them beating Vanderbilt in the second round too. I think that game's a toss up, but I think Vanderbilt caught a little bit of steam, in the SEC tournament and putting the fucking beat down on Florida. So I think Vanderbilt's scary, but I do think Nebraska is like very sound. They're not gonna make too many mistakes, and you kind of have to outscore them. And I think their defense is good enough to get them to Sweet 16. And I think, you know, just one win. I don't think it matters if they win the game against Vanderbilt. If they win that one game, that's all that anybody's going to remember about this team because they got to get it done. Especially it'd be one thing if it was like an 8-9, right? An 8-9 matchup, it'd be a little bit scarier. But if they lose this game to Troy, it's just like the curse. Will it ever be broken? That I don't know. Yeah, they have to win this one.
I think the Vanderbilt Nebraska matchup, if we get it, it's kind of perfect because it's two
Hmm.
teams that nobody thinks of for basketball. Neither team was supposed to be as good this year as they are. And so you get both of them and you're guaranteed to get one of them to advance.
Yep. I think Houston's got my favorite player in college basketball too, Sinek for the center. He is unbelievable. I don't know why I like him so much. I just love the way he plays. He's like super aggressive. He'll have a couple big dunks. He's really good on defense. I really like watching Houston play. And their guards are old. It feels like Sharp's been on their team since 2014. Like they just got a bunch of dudes. I really like Houston to make a run. And that's not, shocking or anything like that. But I think if they make it to that matchup, and we'll get there, but they make it to that matchup with Florida, I like Houston to kind of shut it down. So yeah, this is an exciting region. I feel like once we get to like the Sweet 16, but before that, it's kind of like some gross matchups in my head. I don't know. I got Clemson, Iowa is a toss up to me, but I think my best bet on this region here is I'm taking VCU over North Carolina. And I know that's not a shocking upset with injuries to North Carolina, but that's my best bet in the South for round one.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think another bet of mine that I've already put in, I'll be taking Vanderbilt to cover against McNeese round one. I think a lot of people have the last year McNeese team in their heads, and they're still really good, but they lost Will Wade, and he's the one that built that whole system, brought all those guys in, and then a bunch of guys left after he left. So
Amir
even
Khan,
though
right?
they, what's that?
Is that Amir Khan, right? Manager.
Yeah, yeah, he'll
They
be
lost
there.
him
He'll be
too.
there.
Oh no, he went with Will Wade.
Yeah, and then he went back.
Oh, did you realize
Yeah.
I missed the transfer portal news? Damn.
Yeah, dude,
I
he
didn't
went
know he
back.
was
I
back.
I think they said something that he wasn't getting paid enough or something.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he's
Uh,
back with
that's
the
funny.
boombox.
That's funny. He's gonna turn heel this year. Everybody's gonna hate him. He's gonna come out and everybody's gonna. It's like the Squidward meme when he sticks his hand out. Just boo. This guy stinks.
Hey, I'm fading him. I'm selling.
Oh. Yeah,
Do
you only
you
get 10
think?
minutes, buddy.
What do you think of the St. Mary's A&M game? I think that's one a lot of people probably struggle with. Seven
I
versus 10.
just I have learned to not fade St. Mary's or Gonzaga. And Texas A&M could easily win this game, but every year it's just, St. Mary's hasn't played anybody. Gonzaga hasn't played anybody. Like it's the same story with this conference, and it's the last year of the conference. So I'm just going. I'm not overthinking it. I'm taking St. Mary's. I do have St. Mary's or Texas A&M losing to Houston in the second round, so it's a little bit irrelevant in my head. But I am going with St. Mary's.
Fair.
We'll jump up to the West region, which arguably is kind of the most fun region, I think. It's the most random for sure. I feel like it's got a bunch of random matchups that I think is kind of intriguing. Like Queens, I was listening to part of my take today, and apparently that won't even be a school anymore next year. So they get a one chance here against Purdue. You got Arizona, who's a clear favorite for a lot of people. I think they came in, as a clear 1-1 for a lot of people. You've got Utah State out of the Mountain West, who's hot. You have Wisconsin's fun to watch. BYU's fun to watch. Texas won tonight, so it'll be a BYU Texas game. I think that's got a lot of potential to be pretty fun. And then Miami and Missouri. So this region's kind of fun, and I think Arizona's the clear favorite. But there's some teams here, and I'll let you get your thoughts out. But there's a team I'm looking at that could make a run here, that I got my eye on.
Well, I can't wait to figure out who that team is. But looking at Arizona, 1 seed, 32-2 this year, Big 12 champs. They've got 7 players averaging over 8.5 points a game. Big 12 player of the year, Jaden Bradley. But then they've got Koa Pete, who's going to be a first rounder in the NBA. I actually got to play football against both his brothers. One of them, Andrews Pete, he's in the NFL, started for the Saints for like 10 years. Stud. And then they've got this huge center in the middle that's just a freak on defense and blocks the rim. So I think they're the most battle tested team of
Yeah.
anybody because they have played a gauntlet of a schedule, and their only 2 losses came in back-to-back weeks. And man, that would have been the perfect time after a back-to-back loss, go buy the future. But of course I didn't do it. But then we have Purdue. Purdue's coming off Big Ten championship, and they are very, very veteran because we've seen Braden Smith, the point guard, we've seen him for years now, and he's just a general out there. He makes amazing passes. He's got Fletcher Lawyer, who's like his 3-point guy, the white kid, and then you've got Kaufman Wren in the middle, just a old school power forward, just likes to get his points right around the paint. But they're also shaky, dude. 6-7 in their last 13. They're still top 3 offensive, like nationally, but how good are they at defense? That's the problem. And then when we look at Gonzaga, always going to be a wagon, but They lost Braden Huff. He was averaging 18 points per game, and nobody knows if he's going to play. Seen last week without crutches. So if they get him back, that would be a huge deal. We'll have to monitor. Arkansas, though. Oh, man. Arkansas is so fun.
Love
Arkansas is
Arkansas.
must-watch basketball, specifically because of Acuff.
Yep.
Acuff is he's got to be just the best player to watch. I know he's not the best player. Darren Peterson and Boozer, Dibanasta, they're all going to have, great NBA careers, but Acuff is that guy that if he carries this team to like a Final Four, he will be remembered forever. And yeah, sure, he's still going to be a top 7 pick in the NBA draft, but I can't get enough of watching him. And the big talk right now is Calipari. He's done some damage when he has guards. When he has a good point
Yep.
guard, we look at who he's coached. Derrick Rose took him to a Final Four. John Wall, De'Aaron Fox, SGA. I mean, we
Yep.
were talking about elite point guards, and none of them, college-wise, have stacked up to his season so far for Acuff. So
Yep.
if we know anything about Cal with a good point guard, and right now he's got his best point guard, this could be a run for the ages.
Yep. And that was the team. It was Arkansas. I think Arkansas makes a run. I do have them losing to Arizona, but my bracket's not finalized yet, so I might switch that. But I want to take Arizona. I want to take Arkansas to beat Arizona because I think they can make a run. I really do. With Coach Cal like that, that's a team that's so dangerous. But out of the West, it might shock you. And you said it's they've struggled as of late, but I have Purdue, and we'll talk about how deep I have them going. Purdue is deep for me. Okay, I am riding the Purdue train. It's recency bias with that Big Ten championship, tournament, but they looked fucking good, and they're the preseason number one. They have the depth, they have the age, they have big men. They play decent defense when they need to, and they can score even if they don't. So I feel like they have a makeup of a scary team. And the way they kind of handled, they beat the shit out of Nebraska. They beat Michigan pretty bad. Like they were up for a while there, with a decent margin. So I love Purdue. And yeah, we'll get to our brackets here, but I like Purdue a lot coming out of there.
They got to win it eventually, right? I mean,
Yep.
whenever they go in, they're usually a 1 seed, and those are the years where they can't get it done. So
Yep.
this could be the year. It would be something. I'll tell you what, though, if Arkansas would not have been on Arizona's side of this region, that
Yep.
would be my Elite Eight matchup, 100%. Arizona, Arkansas.
Yep. 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 I agree. Last
Do you
region
have
here,
any?
Midwest.
Wait. Do you
Oh,
have
okay.
a take on Utah State Villanova?
Yeah, I'm going Utah State. Just straight Mountain West pride. They're fun to watch too. Utah State's a fun team. Battle tested in the Mountain West. Villanova, I don't know. I think Big East was a little bit down this year. And Villanova has been a little bit shaky as of late. So I feel like, Villanova should win this game. But I'm just taking the heart with Utah State.
I'm with you. Maybe it's because we're Mountain West guys. We watch Mountain
Yep.
West ball, but Utah State, they're dangerous. They
Yep.
can score at will. And I'll tell you what, one of my bets for the first round, mark it down right now, boys. We are taking the over in that game.
Nice. Nice. Yep. I like that. I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take a little parlay in this one, and I'm just going to go with some favorites, and then I'm going to sprinkle in Missouri. I don't know if they're a betting favorite or not, but that's my upset of the bracket over there is a 10-7. Missouri gets Miami. And that Missouri Purdue game, that's the one that scares me. That could bust me because Missouri's pretty nasty. They could beat Purdue, no question.
Yeah. And Joe, I want to say this because people are going to come at us. They're going to say, oh, a lot of chalk, boys, a lot of chalk. I think that this is the tournament where we don't get a lot of upsets in the first round. I know we love the madness. Nobody loves it more than I do. But I do think that the top 30 teams in the country are far better than the bottom 30. I didn't when I was looking through, I just didn't see enough of those little guys that caught my eye where I was like, "Oh, this team's actually legit. They might not play anybody, but they're running." I know a lot of people think that about High Point against Wisconsin. Problem is, I really like Wisconsin. Wisconsin's
I know.
elite.
I know.
Wisconsin's that they've shown that they could beat anybody. They beat Michigan,
Yep.
right? So, and
Yep.
sure, it took one of their best games, but that's the thing. Wisconsin at their best, they can upset any of these big teams.
Yep. I think too when you go chalky, it's like reverse psychology because everybody's picking upsets. So if you go chalky, you're kind of going against the grain sometimes. And if you pick chalky, it's like, well, yeah, no shit. Like great picks by me, you know? And we were talking about before the show, but that was last year. Like I
Yeah.
went basically pure chalk and it worked out great. Like I had a great tournament last year. So I will not be on the underdog train. You know, some people bet every underdog in every game. And historically, they've made money because all you need is like one big upset and you come out profitable. Will not be doing that. Will not be doing that because that just terrifies me this year. I don't think so, but
I also can't lose if I'm taking a bunch of chalk because there's nothing that gets me more jacked up than watching a Cinderella pull off an upset. Whether I
yep,
bet on them or picked them in my bracket or not, when I see a buzzer beater from a 13 seed to beat a team that we've got going to the Sweet 16, that gets me juiced.
yep, yep. I agree. I agree, and I just hope we get some madness. It's hard to pick which one will be the Cinderella, obviously, but God, I hope it's just some random ass team like Queens or someone like that. It would be sick.
I've
I don't
got
want
one
it to
for
be.
you.
Yeah, all right, all right,
We're getting to it though.
all right. Yeah, we're in the Midwest now. We're in the Midwest. This is Michigan's region. You've got Michigan, Virginia, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Those are some of the top seeds. Kentucky's in there. Santa Clara, Hofstra. You have Miami of Ohio. Very controversial in there with the bubble. They have to beat SMU tomorrow in order to actually make it into the tournament. I don't count the bubble. That doesn't count. They didn't make the tournament. I think it's bullshit. But I like to play and it's fun. So whatever. We get extra basketball. St. Louis is an interesting team. I have them beating Georgia here. That's my upset of the region. Otherwise, I'm looking pretty chalky across the board here.
Perfect. Well, when I look at it, I mean, we look at obviously the one seed Michigan is another wagon. There was a point in the year where I didn't think they would lose a game, but they're just huge. They're so big. 6'9" plus for their entire front court, and then their back court 6'4" plus. So everybody out there is a monster, and they've got a veteran leader in Yaxel Lindenberg, who he did twist his ankle at the end of the Purdue game. So I don't know if that's going to play a factor, but it shouldn't matter for this first weekend. And I honestly think out of all the one seeds, I think they have the easiest walk to the Final Four of anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think they got to get through essentially Virginia or Iowa State. I think they can smash Bama or Texas Tech, which would be like that Sweet 16 matchup. So there's not really anybody that can push them until you get to an Iowa State or a Virginia, and even those matchups, I just don't quite see it. I have Michigan coming out of here because it's just they're so damn good. But in those big games, the Purdue game, the Duke game, like they have lost some games where it's like best on best type stuff, and I feel like that's where we're actually going to see it. So maybe they lose something early. I don't see it because I don't think anybody's got the juice. Bama especially. Bama's so streaky. They either hit a billion threes or they don't. They're not playing defense, and I just think Michigan's way too big to lose a game like that.
Totally agree. And you brought up Iowa State. That's a top 10 defense. They've got this a European kid,
Mommy
Mommy. Yes, dude. 50% from three, probably the
wet.
best 3-point shooter in the country. And then on top of that, they got Lipsy and Jefferson, both elite scorers. So that's basically their trio that they use to get everything done. And it's nice to have a big three in college basketball. That makes things a lot easier. And then obviously Coach TJ Otzelberg, he was at UNLV when we were there.
10
So
minutes. No, he was
yeah,
not at UNLV when we were there. He was there for legitimately 10 minutes, and they picked him up on the tarmac, and then he went to Iowa State.
nope, nope, nope. You're thinking of Chris Beard, Texas Tech.
Yeah, Altenberger's there for what, a year?
Yeah, I don't know. I was in some meeting when I was coaching. I had to do a couple fundraisers with him, and he was a nice guy. But I know exactly who you're talking about. You're talking
Yeah,
about
Chris
Chris
Beard
Beard, who
too.
turned
But
out to be a
we,
bad guy.
yeah, I know. The Altenberger thing always stings my mouth too because it's the same. He didn't really
It's
have time there. It was like a year or two, and we kind of knew he was the real deal, and then he was
yeah,
gone. So
it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
stepping
sad.
stone. But also, both of those guys, they were like, "Hey, I'm taking this job, but I want you to know my dream is not here." But we got
Honestly,
them.
respect.
We got both of them to their dream jobs.
You're
So
right, right.
hey, and then Virginia is an interesting one because they play completely differently now. They just go death by threes. So
Yep.
47% of the shots they take are from the 3-point line. So I'm actually going to take the over in their game in the first round because I think too many people are going to be assuming that this is that slow Virginia team. That's not
Tony
the
Bennett.
case. Yeah, right. Shout out Tony Bennett, by the way.
Shout
Good
out,
dude.
baby. Like I think it's this ball's. I think that's signed by him. It's Tony Bennett, Washington State team. Yeah, sick,
He
sick
played at
run at
Wazoo?
Washington State. He was coaching like when Clay was
Ah,
there, and yeah, so his dad, Dick Bennett, took over the program when I was a kid, and they were terrible. Washington State was not good at basketball. Dick Bennett takes over the team, legendary coach at Wisconsin, whatever. He took over the first 2 years, essentially said, "Hey, look, son, here's how you like shape a program." When he was on the team or on the staff, his son was, and he's like, "This is how you shape a program." Gave the program to Tony after like year two. Sick runs. I think we made it to the round of 32 and then Sweet 16 after that. So that's how you pass down an inheritance to a son right there. Just give him a good team, teach him how to do it, get paid a shitload of money to go to Virginia. So yeah, on staff
that's
with the
what Bruce
Lakers now,
Pearl's
I
trying to
think.
do with his son right now.
Yeah, except he's on TV just lobbying for them to get in.
It's so funny.
Uh,
The other thing about this team, this Virginia team, is they're sixth in the nation in offensive rebounds. So I don't know if they're just bricking threes and they're just like long rebounds and nobody can seem to get it, but that helps them and obviously play great defense. And I thought they looked great in the ACC championship. Didn't win,
yep.
but man, they gave Duke a run for their money. And then we get to the 4 seed of this region, and we're looking at Alabama, 23-9. You said they don't play defense. They just run up and down the court. The big news, though, this week is just yesterday, their second leading scorer, he got arrested. They
I saw
found
that.
over a pound of marijuana in his house
Oh shit. I
and
did not
some other
realize it was a
stuff.
pound.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's been removed from campus, no longer with the team. So that's their second leading scorer. And Joe, this also ties right into my favorite long shot of the tournament, and that's Hofstra. I like
Mm.
Hofstra. Didn't know too much about him during the season, but for those of you out there that follow the NBA, there's a guy named Speedy Claxton, used to be in the NBA. Well, he went to Hofstra and he took them to the tournament while he's there. And then eventually has a long NBA career, and they haven't been back to the tournament. He is now the head coach, and he's got them back in it. And early in the year, he scheduled some ACC opponents, Pitt and Syracuse. And guess what? He beat them both. So this team is legitimately good for being a smaller school. And with Alabama just kind of in the fray right now with this legal stuff, I'm going to take the first round upset. I'm going to take it
Mm.
right there, which once again only makes Michigan's walk a little easier.
That's tasty. I can be convinced of that. I can be convinced of that. I like that. The weed thing, I thought, the way that the news story was wrote, it was like, oh, you had a little bit of weed and it wasn't tax certificate or whatever. And I was like, what kind of
Mm.
bullshit is that? Like, you're gonna take a guy out of a tournament, right before because he had a little weed and it wasn't like they didn't pay taxes or some shit on it. But I didn't realize it was a pound. So Joe Lenardi says here, his preview, I'm looking at it right now. He's a sick fuck for this. He says, once again, Nate Oates has built a blazing, potent offense capable of bearing any opponent. He knew exactly what he was doing there. I don't know if he wrote this before or after the article, but you sick fuck.
Plenty of blazing.
Yeah, making a joke at a young man's expense. I don't let him play. Who gives a fuck? A pound? He's probably smoking all. He's not selling that. He's probably just smoking it up.
Yeah, I think the report came out. I think it was more than a pound actually, and maybe
Yeah.
some firearms and cash.
Oh, okay. Well,
It
yeah.
was like your classic, the Holy Trinity, some call it. Yeah.
If it's pound of weed, all right. We throw the guns in there. You know, maybe maybe he's looking to distribute. That changes the story. I'm let him play. Let the boys play.
Let the boys play. Another one I wanted to hit on from this region is that bets for the first round. I actually really like Georgia minus 2.5. They were
I have Georgia
really,
losing to St. Louis for some reason. I don't know
yeah.
why.
No, I love St. Louis because they have what's the kid's name? Robbie Avila. He's the white kid that's kind of chubby and he wears the rec specs. And
Larry
he is
Nerd
elite.
is what they call him.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not Kareem, but Kareem. So I think that that's going to be a really popular pick, and I'm going to fade the public on that one. I'm going to go with Georgia. And then the other one, I love SMU right now, and I think they beat the shit out of Miami of Ohio tomorrow night in the play-in game and possibly carry it over to Tennessee.
I have Virginia going pretty deep here. And one more thing on Iowa State, that mommy guy, Mamovich. Did you watch that Big 12 game? He at the end of a half, he hit 3 threes in a row, like some Reggie Miller shit. It was some of the most electric college basketball, like March Madness warm up I've ever seen. He is fun to watch. So
Which
if he can get hot,
that game was honestly, that was one of the best college basketball games I've seen in years.
so good, so good. Yeah, that's right about when I tune in, because you get that type of shit. The regular season gets a little boring for me in the middle. It's right at the end of football. I don't really tune in now. I've caught the bug. I'm fully in, and that's why we're doing our March Madness breakdown. But you want to jump into our brackets here? You want to go,
Yeah.
into the Sweet 16? We've been kind of teasing it. We've been teasing our brackets. I have been making a couple changes here. I just switched Georgia and St. Louis. You convinced me on that. I don't know why the fuck I had St. Louis. It was just I didn't even remember they had Kareem on there. But yeah, I'm switching it. I switched it. I can start. You want to start? What do you want to do?
How about you start? Let's start in the East. Who
All right.
is in your Sweet 16 for the East?
Sweet 16 in the East. I have Duke matching up against St. John's. I have Michigan State matching up against UConn.
Love it. I also have that same four from that region.
It's
so
chalky.
let's hear who are you advancing from that Sweet 16?
I got Duke and UConn. I'm keeping it even more chalky. I like it. Dan Hurley, he's a fucking psychopath. So I just like him. But on the same hand here, Dan Hurley's kind of a heel. Like he can get under people's skin. Some people don't like him. I understand why. The opposite, I think, is true for Duke. I think Shire he has made them 4,000% more likable. And I know that's kind of a narrative that's been thrown around with Coach K leaving and Coach K's a legend. But I think people are sick of Coach K. And now we get a young, attractive dude just running the program, running Duke. It's good to see Duke good, and it's good to see him at the helm. I like Duke, and I usually do not like Duke.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think Shire's a really good coach, and he's got a chance to be there for the next 40 years, it feels like. He's a young dude, and that's what Coach K did. Coach K never left. It's one of those jobs, once you get it, you just keep it. And also right now, Duke, North Carolina, Duke's been giving them the business, and he's a lot more likable than the North Carolina coach. I mean, they had Hubie Brown for I don't know what they were doing, but it's yeah, time for a brand change, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Duke's winning that war right now. I also have Duke winning, and I have Michigan State beating UConn, which I think such a
Mm,
fun matchup. When we talk coaches, we're talking Hurley versus Izzo. I
yep,
mean, that's one I just need a sideline cam for that one.
yep. Yeah, that has to happen. And hate watch out of this bracket. We didn't talk about it earlier. Hate watch for me is Mick Cronin. I want to see Mick Cronin get smashed. I do not like Mick Cronin, just from pure vibes perspective. I think he's a dickhead. So I hope UCLA goes down. I like UCLA too. That's the problem. Like it's kind of flip flop for me. I used to like UCLA or like used to like UCLA, hate Duke. Now I'm flipping to this side. So yeah, I got UConn smashing UCLA second round, and then they edge out Michigan State there. So we have pretty similar, but UConn Duke, and you have Duke Michigan State. So I mean, I'm happy with either one of those combos.
And I'm assuming we both have Duke advancing.
Yeah, Duke's going on. Yep, yep.
So
Just I
Duke
mean,
to the Final Four. Lock it in, everybody. Lock it
yep.
in.
Boozers. We can jump. You want to go south or you want to go west?
We can do South.
Okay, let's go south. I have Florida against Nebraska. I did it. I did it. I gave them the nod. I do think they could lose that game to Vanderbilt. I think it's either Vanderbilt or Nebraska there. I think Vanderbilt probably does win that game, but just, pure loyalty standpoint, I'm going Nebraska. But I do have Florida winning that game, advancing into the Elite Eight. And then I have Illinois, Houston at the bottom. So I gave Illinois the nod. I do think Houston is going to come out of that bracket. I have Houston beating Florida into the Final Four.
You rat bastard. Well, I've got Florida playing against Vanderbilt. And that's just because I love Vanderbilt. I love both of their guards, Duke and the other kid. He's an NBA kid. I can't think of his name right now, but love
He
them.
must be really
So,
good.
oh yeah. Well, I just call him
I'm
Afro because
joking.
he's got giant
Yeah.
hair.
Okay, okay. You know way
Yeah,
more than me. I could name like 10 players, so
yeah. I mean, Nebraska, all of them look the exact same. So tough
yeah.
to choose out of
They
those
got
guys.
they got the one Mass. That's all you need to know is Mass. He's if he plays well, they win. If he doesn't, they lose. He's their European 3 guy.
He must have played terribly the night I bet on them a couple weeks
Oh
ago.
yeah. Who would they
You
play?
remember that? No, you remember it was
It was
they were
Purdue,
down
wasn't
like
it?
18. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
Purdue.
Purdue.
Yeah. I think he was
Yeah.
like literally 0 for 8 from 3. He could not hit the broadside of a barn. It was unbelievable. But he was hurt and that was his first game back, so that was the excuse.
Okay. Okay. Insider news right there. And then Illinois, I think we both talked about North Carolina being banged up. They don't have Caleb for this matchup, so that's really going to hurt them. And Illinois is going to advance, and they're going to take on Houston. Houston, though, is going to lock them the fuck up and show them this is how men play basketball. And we've done this multiple times. So they roll through. And same with you. I've got Houston as a 2 seed advancing to the Final Four. They get revenge on Florida and they suffocate them.
Yeah. So it's going to be a contentious draft here because we both have Duke Houston in the Final Four coming out of those two.
I think that
Going to
makes the
be a
draft more
battle.
fun.
Yeah, going to be a battle. All right. Okay, West. Go up to the West with Arizona. That's kind of all you got to say, except not. Okay, not because I've got Arizona, Arkansas, and then I have Gonzaga, Purdue. In my Sweet 16. So I have Gonzaga, Purdue, Arizona, Arkansas, and then I have Purdue beating Gonzaga to play Arizona in the Elite Eight. I think that Arkansas Arizona game is going to be one of the best in the tournament. I hope we get that matchup. I really do. I want to see Calipari. I want to see them take a deep run. If they win that game against Arizona, I won't be mad, but I am taking Arizona. I have Arizona losing to Purdue in the Elite Eight. I have Purdue into the Final Four. Yeah, I like Purdue. I'm kind of pissed, and we'll get to the Final Four and the championship matchups here, but I was listening to Rothstein today and he's heavy on Purdue. So now I look like, a follower. I had this bracket done before I heard that. It's not because of him. Purdue in the Final Four.
People are saying
I know. I'm copycat. That's fine. He's a smart guy.
he's a smart guy. kind of a weirdo, I will say. I mean,
Kind of.
I love March Madness, but he takes it to an extreme. He doesn't even watch football. That's
No.
just crazy.
He's like us with
That's where I
college
draw the
football, I feel
line.
like. Yeah, he's a freak. We respect the sickos, you know? We like the sickos, and, I feel like we get to not that level, but close to that level for football, so we'll give it to him.
Absolutely. And I have a very similar route as you.
Chalk.
So I have Arizona, obviously, Arkansas beating Wisconsin to play them, and I have Arizona winning that matchup. And then from there, Gonzaga versus Purdue. This really depends if Gonzaga gets Huff back, but I'm not sure it'll matter. I'm going to take Purdue's experience in this one. But then when they play Arizona, Arizona is going to beat them down, unfortunately. And that one might get ugly, sir.
Yeah, no,
So
that's fair. That's fair. That's gonna be, hopefully we get it. Hopefully get it. I hope we don't get some like Missouri. I don't want Missouri to come out of there and play Arizona in the Elite Eight. I just feel like that's not as good of a matchup. I want to see Purdue, Arizona. I really do. I think that's going to be Purdue, Arizona, or Purdue, Arkansas would be the most fun matchups to me coming out of there. So yeah, yeah, I agree.
and if BYU was healthy, I think BYU could make a run here.
Agreed.
That's the
Yep.
problem is that they're just banged up, but they do have a ton of talent, and I would like to see them go on a run. That would be fun. If they upset Gonzaga in the second round, I'm here for it. I'm
Yep.
all here, and I'll jump on the bandwagon, and I'll hope they beat Purdue.
I won't, but yeah, agreed. Then we go to the Midwest, final region here. Michigan's region. I have Michigan, Texas Tech. I do have Hofstra as well. I used to have Bama, but you convinced me into a Hofstra 13 there in my bracket. I had to have one upset. I have basically none. So sure, we'll go with Hofstra. But I've got Michigan, Texas Tech, and then I have Virginia and Iowa State. I like Virginia coming here. Mommy scares me, but I'm going to take Virginia versus Michigan in the Elite Eight. I'm giving Virginia the nod. They do play way different than people think. And I've seen Iowa State lose some games, and it might be biased, but I've just watched them drop a couple in games they shouldn't have, games they were ahead. So my question is, do they know how to win? And we'll find out. But Virginia knows how to win. They're a blue blood. They've been there, new coaching staff, different style of play. Won't matter. Michigan's going to the Final Four for me out of the Midwest.
And then I have Michigan playing Texas Tech. Texas Tech, unfortunately, they also lost their best player of the season, and Michigan will roll through them. That's once again, I mean, Bama loses their second best scorer, and then now you have to face Texas Tech instead of Bama. But guess what? Texas Tech doesn't have Toppin. So Michigan, I really feel like walks to the Elite Eight. And then I'm going to have Tennessee making
Mm.
the Sweet 16 to play against Iowa State. And in this matchup, Iowa State just overpowers them with their big three and their scoring. And then we get the Michigan Iowa State game. Now, if Iowa State can pull off something like they did when they watched Wisconsin beat Michigan, if they can have one of those 3-point performances, they will beat Michigan. But I've seen Iowa State slip up way too much this season. We're going to ride with Michigan to complete my Final Four: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Houston. So chalky, sure, but fuck off when it happens. You guys can come back and talk to me.
Yeah. We have three for three the same. I got Duke, Houston, Michigan, and Purdue. Purdue's my shocker there. I'm hoping to see the little, pick champions. I'm hoping to see a small percentage there, just in case I can do it, because I have Purdue versus Duke in the national championship game. So the Final Four, I've got Purdue taking down Michigan again, just like in the Big Ten championship game. I think Duke will overpower Houston. I think Houston's good, but another heartbreak for the Cougs in the Final Four there because Duke is just too nasty. So I'm going Duke Purdue for my national title.
And I'll be having Duke advancing past Houston, and they will take on the Michigan Wolverines. I love Arizona so much. There's one problem. I have seen it over and over again. they can never get the job done. And it's unfortunate, but I'm going to ride with Michigan. Big, physical across the board. And Joe, do you want to announce your national champion?
Yeah, Purdue. I don't think it's shocking. I've been riding them this whole tournament, and I'm gonna ride them again. It's gonna be a huge betting underdog. I think if they end up playing Duke in the national title, I think Duke's gonna be a big favorite. But if Purdue can play like everybody kind of thought they could to start this year, they've got so many older guys that have been to these big games and lost pretty much all of them. This is going to be in Indy. It's going to be a home game for Purdue. I just think Purdue has the battle scars and the anger, that they could pull from to win this thing. So, and I like Matt Painter a lot. I think he's a great coach. He's been there just like his players been there. So Purdue, baby.
Boilermakers. Wow, you officially did it. Um, and everybody's going to come shit on me and hate me because I'm going to take Duke to beat Michigan. And part of it just goes back to earlier in the season, these two teams faced off and they asked Michigan's best player about Boozer, and he just started laughing at the camera and didn't answer the question. And they asked Boozer about it, and he said, "Oh, he's a great player. Can't wait to play against him." And then Boozer came and took it to him the entire game. Sure, they battled, but Duke came out on top. And yeah, I'm just gonna ride with the good guys, which is weird to say. Duke being the
I
good
know.
guys in that scenario,
I know.
but yeah,
Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, we got basically the same Final Four, so it's gonna take some weird shit to happen for us to differentiate. But that's why we're doing the draft. That's why we're doing the draft. I'm excited for the
exactly,
draft.
exactly. Uh, Joe, I will. I'll let you take first pick in the draft. So just to remind you guys, we're doing a 10-round draft. So we're each going to get 10. We'll do a snake draft. And then the loser has to do a solo pod. The only thing you get points for, though, is picking the correct national champion. And we may have to come up with a punishment for the two of us if the national champion
It
is
doesn't.
not one of our
I
20
know.
teams.
I know.
It
I
would
was
have
like,
to
should we
be
do
a
like
bad
3 teams,
punishment.
5 teams? You're like, do we need to do at least 20?
We probably don't like 10's probably safe, like if we each
10's
pick
probably
five,
safe. Yeah.
but
I wanna
I
do
don't know.
let's do 5, let's do 5, let's risk it,
Okay.
I like that. Because then if we can't get it with 5, we deserve a punishment. Or it's a sick upset, and we get some crazy national championship, which would also be fun.
Okay. Well, let's do that. We'll do five each. And then viewers, let us know what we got to do. Okay. Comment, reply, let us know what the punishment will be if neither of us get it. But Joe, first pick of the national champion draft, who are you going to go with?
Well, I know your pick, and I don't even have have 'em in the Final Four, but I think it's really possible. I'm gonna go Arizona. I'm gonna go Arizona as my 1-1. Um, it's chalky, and I have them losing to Purdue, but I could easily see them taking it all the way because I think they're nasty.
They are nasty, and I'll be so happy if they do win it. I would love that. Also, just add another ring to the James dynasty. People forget, but Bryce James is just riding pine down there in Tucson.
Did you see him take his warm ups off in the championship? He was getting clowned for that. He took his warm ups off to run on the court after they won the Big 12 championship. You got to do it. That's a veteran move. That's a veteran move.
Yeah, and guess what? He's probably got more money than every player in there combined. So he's doing just fine, guys. I'll go with the team I have to win the national champion in my bracket. I'm gonna go with Duke and Boozer, and then I'll also take. I'm gonna do a sharp thing right here. I think I'm gonna take Houston
Yep.
because I
I
have
like
them
that.
playing each other. I want to try to make sure I get somebody in that championship game.
Yep. I like that. I like that. I'll go Michigan then. We're just picking off one seeds here, but I will go
No,
Michigan. I think they could do it too. They're in the Final Four for me. And then I will go with give me UConn. I'll take UConn as my snake there. So I got Arizona, Michigan, UConn so far.
Arizona, Michigan, Yukon. All right, Joe. If you're gonna let me have it, I'll take it. But I'm gonna take the final 1 seed. I'm gonna take Florida,
Yep. Yep. You can have it. You can have it. I saw
and
it
then I'll.
and I didn't want to take it.
You're also just letting me take Purdue if I want Purdue.
Yeah, you can have. I'm tempting you because I want you to kind of be on my side with it. So yeah, I let you have Duke too. I was like, okay, you can have Duke, but I kind of want you to be on the Purdue train with me. So you can have it if you want it.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, and I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna take Iowa State.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it. Okay, Iowa State. So you got Duke, Houston, Florida, Iowa State right now. All
yeah.
right. All right. I will take Purdue. And for my final pick, let me look here. Well, let me look. We got to take a little bit of a flyer
Yeah,
here
this
because
is this is the
this
toughest
is the
one.
flyer pick. Yeah,
That
it's
was
getting
part
down
of the
there.
reason why I was gonna go 10 rounds is just so we can have, like, some fun ones too.
Couple flyers. Yeah, we can bump it
Yeah.
up. We can bump it up. I just don't. I don't see it past it. Yeah, let's go. Let's go Arkansas. Fuck it. Give me Cal. Give me Arkansas. 4 seed. I'm taking it. Take Arkansas.
I hate you. You did it.
You were waiting. You were
I
waiting for it. I knew you
was.
were waiting for it. It's the only reasonable pick left.
Yeah. I really wanted Arkansas. Now
I'll
I'm
trade
looking
you
at
Arkansas for
Michigan's.
Iowa State.
No. No, we're not doing that. Not here. All right. Now I'm either between Michigan State or Hofstra.
Yeah.
Um, man, let's yeah. Yeah. Let's take Michigan State.
Michigan
We're
State.
going to go Michigan State here.
Michigan State. All right. All right. So we got Duke. Mo has Duke, Houston, Florida, Iowa State, and Michigan State. I am rocking with Arizona, Michigan, UConn, Purdue, and Arkansas.
I love it.
All right. That's the 10. We want to go one. Let's go one MoJoe Flyer. We'll pick one together. We'll go one just in case, so we don't have to do a punishment.
Okay, one Mojo Flyer, and we're both taking this one.
We're both taking this one.
Okay, I mean, I got my eyes on. I mean, you already picked against them. I had my eyes on Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
I could see Virginia being sneaky.
that's what I was looking at. I'm looking at Virginia.
Wisconsin,
Yeah,
BYU,
not BYU. They don't have the juice. Too
no
banged up.
juice.
What about a St. John's? Can I interest you in a St. John's?
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't. You can't interest me in it.
They got to go
After I
through
saw
Duke and UConn
after their
or Michigan State.
9-minute drought without hitting a field goal against UConn to end the game, I can't do it.
I know. Yeah.
All right, it sounds like we're on Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, that's our pick. All right. All right. Settled.
Well,
Mr.
boys,
Irrelevant, Virginia.
this was great. I wish we could do this every week. I
I
love
love
the
March
tournament.
Madness. It's so good.
It's so good. Are you working?
Thursday, yeah, but I am at home, so
Mm.
games will be on. And my boss was already talking about it today. So he flip-flopped. He's talking about his World Baseball Classic. So he took the USA pre-tournament to win it. He watched 2 innings of the Italy game. He said that's enough. He cashed it out. Went to the DR, cashed that one out. Went to Venezuela, rode Venezuela. So he should just, don't change your test answers. He had it right the first time.
Wait, I thought you said he took Venezuela.
He took Venezuela, but I don't know if he kept it. I mean, I got to ask him because he's cashing everything else out. Maybe he slipped, back to the USA. I don't know, but I think he made some money. I hope so because he's been right every time except change his test answers.
Yeah, look, if he wants to bet on Venezuela, he can go live there for all I care. That's how I feel.
They're looking for a leader, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we're going to be back after the first round of the tournament. Sorry, first weekend of the tournament, 2 rounds. So plenty of fun. And I'm sure for the second round, we'll have to put out some graphics to update everybody on any bets we're making. But you got our bets throughout the show. You got our brackets. You got the draft. You're going to see who wins the Natty. God, I hope it's a top 3 seed because if it's not, the boys are cooked. But we love you. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's the best time of the year. Enjoy it. Get that vasectomy tonight or tomorrow so that you have the weekend free. But with that being said, we will see you guys again next week to break down some more ball.
Adios.